Welcome to another show. Today, we're going to discuss the top 10 adaptations of Charles Dickens' works. Dickens' novels have inspired countless stage, film, and television adaptations, captivating audiences for generations. Below are 10 of the most acclaimed and influential adaptations of his works. These adaptations showcase the universal appeal and enduring power of Charles Dickens' stories, continuing to enchant audiences across generations and cultures. From Jeremy Urquhart. Few authors who passed away before cinema itself was invented have proven to be quite as prominent within the world of film as Charles Dickens. The famed English writer was born in 1812 and passed away in 1870, with the earliest short film, if it can be defined as such, being made in 1874. All that's to say, there's clearly no way Dickens would have known this is how many of his stories would be consumed and enjoyed. Yet there has proven to be something surprisingly cinematic about his stories, ideas, and characters. Otherwise, there wouldn't be countless adaptations of his works by various filmmakers over the past century or so.
I've known numbers of good, honest people have come here.
I beg your pardon. What is this place?
The Marshalsea.
The debtor's prison.
The next adaptation on our list is Little Dorrit from 1987.
On the first floor to confirm my word.
When you came in, and to say that anyone that interests Arthur Clennam half as much must interest...
Who is it?
The gypsy. Fortune teller.
The characters get you involved in the story to such a degree that things seem to move along more quickly than they do in a lot of shorter movies. Little Dorrit is a very interesting film, especially if you like Dickens. I give it 4 stars.
Directed by Christine Edzard, it starred Sarah Pickering, Derek Jacobi, Alec Guinness, and Joan Greenwood. Having worked many years abroad, Arthur Clennam, Jacobi, returns to London. His father is no more, and he is not on good terms with his cold-hearted mother. Arthur meets Amy Dorrit, his mother's young seamstress. Her family, including Father William, are inmates of the debtor's prison. Arthur believes his mother is behind their imprisonment and resolves to help Amy. Little Dorrit is one of the longest films ever made, almost 6 hours. Its length made the makers release the film in 2 parts on almost equal duration. The first screen adaptation of Charles Dickens' 1857 novel, Little Dorrit, was critically acclaimed upon release. It received 2 Oscar nominations, one for Guinness in the Best Supporting Actor category, and another for Best Screenplay. Little Dorrit has been adapted for the screen 6 times. The first was a 2-reel short, released on July 29, 1913 by Thanhouser, directed by James Kirkwood. The 6th adaptation was a TV series co-produced by the BBC and WGBH Boston, written by Andrew Davies and featuring Claire Foy, Andy Serkis, and Matthew Macfadyen.
Pray, allow me, Mr. Colonel. Deeply, deeply.
You may inherit a very great deal of money.
There are several wills, all of them conflicting.
The next adaptation on our list is Bleak House from 2005.
There's some mystery here. Let's see what we can find out about it.
Bleak House.
It was directed by Justin Chadwick and Susanna White. There are plenty of great British miniseries out there, meaning there's always a risk something like Bleak House will get lost in the crowd, but it shouldn't be overlooked as it stands as arguably the gold standard for how the work of Charles Dickens should be adapted to this kind of format. And really, the quality of the acting and production overall means this feels cinematic, really just like a very long movie, which is one of the best things that can be said about a miniseries. The length is certainly warranted, the story of Bleak House being better suited to a miniseries than a feature film, considering its scope and large cast of characters. Much of it revolves around a drawn-out court case involving disputes between estates and wills, and like much of the time in real life, when money is involved, people don't seem to want to back down, no matter the consequences. It's a slow-burn story, and an unsurprisingly bleak one, but is well told and should prove absorbing for those with time to spare. As such, there's only been a handful of adaptations. There was a 1901 short film, The Death of Poor Joe, which is the oldest known surviving film, featuring a Dickens character, Joe in Bleak House. And of course, the BBC has produced 3 television adaptations of Bleak House, which you can probably find on YouTube.
Open patience, you deluded old fool! You thief! You madman!
No, I implore you. Oh, Quilp, it's for poor Nell's sake.
Next adaptation on our list is The Old Curiosity Shop from 1995, directed by Kevin Connor.
Well, I admit there's no great family likeness between her and you.
Is she or isn't she?
She is, Fred. Decidedly pretty. What of that?
Alongside the posthumous papers of the Pickwick Club, The Old Curiosity Shop is another Charles Dickens story that doesn't have all too many film adaptations, this 1995 being another TV movie, albeit a good quality one. It was written a few years on from Dickens' debut and mostly centers on a young girl and her grandfather, forced to make dramatic changes in their lives owing to financial issues. Like a good many Dickens stories, The Old Curiosity Shop explores class and paints a sympathetic view of society's downtrodden, albeit here there's a gentle sense of comedy that exists alongside the more dramatic and serious elements. Taken for what it is, and considering it was made on what appears to be a fairly modest TV budget, this 1995 adaptation of The Old Curiosity Shop is mostly pretty good. There have been about 10 or so adaptations, starting with 1913's silent The Old Curiosity Shop, all the way up until a television adaptation produced by ITV broadcast in the UK on 26 December 2007 and repeated on 14 December 2008.
You could break his heart.
What do you think of her?
I think she's very pretty.
You may kiss me, if you like.
The next adaptation on our list is Great Expectations.
He has come into a handsome fortune. It is the desire of the benefactor that he be brought up as a gentleman in London.
Great Expectations is the coming-of-age story of Pip, an orphan boy whose luck changes after meeting a few colorful characters, including a fugitive convict named Magwitch, a rich spinster named Miss Havisham, and Miss Havisham's adoptive girl, Estella. The 2012 film adaptation of Great Expectations stars Jeremy Irvine as Pip, Holiday Granger as Estella, Helena Bonham Carter as Miss Havisham, and Ray Fiennes as Abel Magwitch. And Great Expectations is one of Charles Dickens' most famous works, and some of its characters are still part of pop culture today. The 2012 film Great Expectations is quite faithful to its source material, though some storylines were shortened or removed due to time constraints. Yet the major themes from Charles Dickens' Great Expectations are still present. And the 2012 film adaptation of Great Expectations is still a perfect representation of one of Charles Dickens' most celebrated works. There have been many adaptations of Great Expectations, starting in 1917, a silent film which starred Jack Pickford and was directed by G. Vignola. It's a lost film. There have been at least 21 adaptations between film and television of this classic tale.
Who are you? Who let you in? Who gave you leave to prowl about?
Stella.
Estella? That witch.
That's the 20th time she's done that. What can she mean by it?
I think she was trying to shy.
Then we must make her realize who is master.
The next adaptation on our list is The Pickwick Papers from 1952, directed by Noel Langley.
No nonsense, as I am doing.
Hold still. Tally-ho. Yoinks.
Be quiet and firm.
Well, he's the one that's being quiet and firm.
It's noteworthy for being the debut novel of Charles Dickens. The posthumous papers of the Pickwick Club isn't far off turning 200, considering it was published at first in a serial format throughout 1836 and 1837. Despite its historical importance within the Dickens canon, it's not a hugely popular story for film adaptations, at least compared to numerous other well-recognized and continually retold stories from cinema history. 1952's The Pickwick Papers also isn't hugely well known, but it does a decent enough job of adapting the novel to the format of a feature film. The story, which is about a group of friends adventuring and reporting on what they come across, does work better as something that's serialized, owing to the episodic nature of such a premise, but it's condensed pretty well here, and in under 2 hours at that. There have been about 11 adaptations of this novel, beginning with 1913, a silent three-reel film featuring John Bunny as Samuel Pickwick, up to 1997, a BBC Radio 4 released, dramatized by Martin Reed with Clive Francis as Mr. Pickwick.
And you, Nickleby? Have you anything to say?
Please, sir, spare me.
Oh, I'll spare you, Smite.
The next adaptation on our list is Nicholas Nickleby.
Stop! This must not go on.
This version stars Charles Hunnam as the titular Nicholas, with Christopher Plummer as Rev Nickleby, and Anne Hathaway as Madeline Bray, Nicholas' love interest. That's from 2002. Nicholas Nickleby is an adaptation of the Charles Dickens novel, also known as The Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby. The film adaptation is a comedy drama and follows the titular Nicholas and his family, his mother, Mrs. Nickleby, and Kate Nickleby, his sister. They enjoy a comfortable life until Nicholas' father dies, and the family must seek the help of Ralph Nickleby, Nicholas' wealthy yet cold-hearted uncle. Nicholas Nickleby sees the titular character through many hardships after the loss of his father. Nicholas' uncle, Ralph, is cruel and hateful and forces Nicholas and Kate to work demeaning jobs. Eventually, Nicholas moves on and finds success as an actor in a production of Romeo and Juliet, but must return to London to save his sister from the cruel abuse of her uncle. Nicholas Nickleby is a great film adaptation of Charles Dickens' work as it maintains the spirit of the original novel. It also boasts a talented cast that brings to life the many colorful characters from Nicholas Nickleby, and the story is fast-paced while staying true to its source material.
London is full of wonders and wickedness, and it's ours, David, to go wherever we choose. Well, I'm not down there.
The next adaptation on our list is David Copperfield.
Copperfield!
Your mama is ill.
How old is she?
Very ill.
Very ill.
Very ill.
Very ill?
Dangerously ill.
She's dead.
In the personal history of David Copperfield, received 11 nominations for the British Independent Film Awards. The film had its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 5th, 2019, before being theatrically released in the United Kingdom on January 24th, 2020, and in the United States on August 28th, 2020. Personal history of David Copperfield stars Dev Patel as the titular David Copperfield, with Hugh Laurie, Tilda Swinton, Peter Capaldi, Benedict Wong, and Gwendolyn Christie in supporting roles. The personal history of David Copperfield adapts one of Charles Dickens' most famous novels, David Copperfield. It is the story of the titular character and his trials and tribulations throughout his life. David Copperfield was born into wealth, but suffered many hardships as he grew up. As David goes from riches to rags and riches again, he meets several unique characters. This 2019 movie adaptation brings joy and a modern touch to the classic Dickens story, while staying true to its source material. The personal history of David Copperfield might appeal to fans of comedy shows like The Veep. Veep's character, Armand Ignacio, is also the director of the personal history of David Copperfield. He adds his personal touch of satire and awkward comedy to the classic story, which makes it an entertaining and captivating adaptation. First-person narration from the original David Copperfield novel is present in the personal history of David Copperfield in a clever way. The story jumps between past and present with a captivating rhythm, and Dev Patel is the titular David Copperfield, who will most likely earn the approval of any Dickens fan.
Please, sir. I want some more.
What? Oliver Twist has asked for more.
The next adaptation on our list is Oliver Twist from 2005, directed by Roman Polanski.
You have come here to be educated and to be taught a useful trade.
Take down the shutters.
Clear the office. Say your prayers.
Alongside Nicholas Nickleby, Oliver Twist is another highly regarded story by Charles Dickens from a relatively early point in his writing career. With both being published in monthly installments during the late 1830s, it's safe to call Oliver Twist the more popular of the two when it comes to adaptations, and it's even one that's inspired a sequel miniseries of sorts as recently as 2023 with The Artful Dodger. The overall enduring nature of Oliver Twist means it's one story that doesn't need too much of an introduction. Following an orphaned boy who falls into a gang of criminals and finds himself facing some harsh realities of life at a very young age. This 2005 adaptation may not be one of the very best, but it works fairly well overall, and is perhaps most notable for having a compelling villainous turn from Ben Kingsley, here playing Fagin, who oversees the gang of young criminals the titular character gets involved with. There are countless adaptations of Oliver Twist, beginning in 1909, which is the first adaptation of Dickens' novel. That silent film starred Edith Story and Etta Proctor Otis. And going all the way up to 2023, The Artful Dodger, an Australian TV series produced for Disney, which is a sequel where Dodger is sent to the colony of Australia, starring Thomas Brodie Sangster.
I'm desperately intent on your softening towards your sister. You make yourself a loving and agreeable brother, do you hear? Make the ladies smile again.
Who is that girl? I don't know that girl.
Sissy Jupe, sir.
Sissy is not a name.
It's the 10th novel by English author Charles Dickens. First published in 1854, the book surveys English society and satirizes the social and economic conditions of the era. Hard Times is unusual in several ways. It is by far the shortest of Dickens' novels, barely a quarter of the length of those written immediately before and after it. Also, unlike all but one of his other novels, Hard Times has neither a preface nor illustrations. Moreover, it is his only novel not to have scenes set in London. Instead, the story is set in the fictitious Victorian industrial Coke Town, a generic northern English mill town in some way similar to Manchester, though smaller.
You look at me as if you had some dread of me. Why do you stare at me like that, man?
I was doubtful whether I'd seen you before. And being here, there's no charge on you to do this, so that I took you for someone else last night. Who is it? I don't know. I never saw his face.
1976's The Signalman is a rarity, an adaptation of a Charles Dickens story that really doesn't have too many film adaptations. Perhaps that's because the source material is relatively brief and only used the format of a short film to be told. This version clocks in at just under 40 minutes and arguably got things right enough that there hasn't really been a need for too many other filmmakers to have a go at their own adaptations. It's also a film that could claim to be the scariest one based on Charles Dickens' story, as long as you don't count the uncanny and unsettling animated Christmas Carol from 2009. The Signalman is based around a railway tunnel that may or may not be haunted, and the psychological torment of the titular signalman who's stationed nearby. Its atmospheric work is a slow-burning pace of horror and is all around a very engaging way to get a brief but potent dose of old-fashioned scares.
Many can't go there, and some would rather die. If they would rather die, they'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
And the number one film on our list, what else could it be? A Christmas Carol.
If I stopped you half a crown for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, wouldn't you, But you don't think me ill-used if I pay a day's wages for no work, do you,
It is only once a year, sir.
It's a poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December.
And this ranks as number one simply because there's been so many adaptations ever since the silent version in 1901 till the present day. There have been movies, television, animated shows, and just so many to be remembered here on this show. We're going to look at the Alastair Sim version this time because we looked at the George C. Scott version on another program. But A Christmas Carol tells the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, a rich man who despises Christmas and refuses to celebrate. Scrooge is a grumpy, obnoxious, and rude even to his own family. Scrooge's business partner died a few years ago, and his ghost appears on Christmas Eve to warn Scrooge to change his ways, or he will die in misery. A Christmas Carol is one of the most famous stories by Dickens, one that has been adapted and referenced so many times. The 1951 film adaptation of A Christmas Carol, titled Scrooge, sees Alastair Sim in the role of Ebenezer Scrooge, which the film didn't receive the best reviews upon release, and he still praised Sim's portrayal of Scrooge. This film adaptation changes some of the storylines from the original Charles Dickens novella. It expands on Scrooge's life and past. In later years, Scrooge became a classic Christmas film and one of the most beloved adaptations of A Christmas Carol. Scrooge was released as A Christmas Carol in the United States, and many still consider Alastair Sim's portrayal of Ebenezer Scrooge to be the very best. Show for today. Due to time constraints, we didn't look, of course, at all adaptations of Dickens' work, but we touched on some of the more well-received, prominent, and popular ones. And what do you think? What was your favorite adaptations of a Charles Dickens work? Let me know your thoughts on Dickens adaptations in the comments section below. And while you're at it, I'd be honored if you subscribe to my channel. Click that little bell to stay informed and share this video as well. That will help me grow on YouTube. Also, check out the Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter franchise, which is in the comments section below. And until next time, this is Kevin Given saying, live long and prosper. May the force be with you and keep reaching for the stars.